Let's briefly do an overview of activity 1.3.1. It's similar to some of the others we've done, so I'll just sort of note it. Step one is to define compaction. There are compaction videos in the resource playlist, and there's information on slide number 8 of the class notes. Those are on the resource page. There's the class notes, slide 8, and there's the playlist for that will include some compaction information. And then you'll explain, which remember is summarize, synthesize, list, what compaction is and why it is important for the work site. So what might you do there? Okay, compaction is and it is done for some reason. Results needed to be something so that something. That's a way that you might phrase the answer, the make your description so that it meets those requirements. Remember, it should describe what compaction is and why it is important. So you could just say compaction is dumb. It is important because dumb. Should take 1 to 2 lines. I might have taken 3. That would be okay. I'm going to show you how to adjust some of these sizings if you want to. Okay, so there's the first part. Let's go look at the second part. Add compaction details. Describe compaction equipment. Describe compaction tests. Describe compaction failures. And then use the who, what, where, when, and why model to not so much create your descriptions, but just check it out to see if you've been broad enough in your descriptions. Okay, you want to answer as many of those who, what, where, when, and why type questions that somebody could ask as possible in a very small amount of space. So one way you might say compaction equipment is used to, and it is generally there. That's why it's used, and it's generally some sort of description, large and heavy, something like that. Operated by, that's the who. Okay, they're required to, that's another why. Okay, but in more detail, they're run by. So I'm using the same type of thing. Now I've got some when, before, and after. And then failures due to inadequate compaction can, So I've done a lot of why, some who, some when, and some what. Now remember, you may be running out of some space. So here's a 14, and I said that these could be taken down to 13s if you need to. That gives me a little bit more room for some writing. I also remember that I can do some formatting on these under the format options, under text fitting, and I can make that maybe 0.18 to get a little bit more room, and maybe 0.18 or even 0.12. And you can see that's given me some extra space to be able to do some typing and get just a little bit more information included. Okay, so there we go. That's a little bit of formatting and a little bit of how to do step 1 and step 2. And then, of course, step 3 is adding images that we've been doing now fairly regularly. So notice the shape. You're going to want to find images or crop your images to have that type of shape. Remember, we're not going to stretch them, but we can crop them. And I would suggest image 1 be compaction equipment, image 2 be compaction testing, and image 3 be something about the failures due to inadequate compaction. And remember, you want your aspect ratio or the basic width to height ratio to fit pretty well in here, and you would want them all the same. Once your images are in, you are allowed to eliminate the main box and put a line around your image and a drop shadow. Okay, so there you go. That is your activity 1.3.1, which is set up so that you can demonstrate knowledge of compaction.